It's time.
All right. The U.S. Open.
The Country Club at Brookline. Just when I hear that name, just the Country Club at Brookline, not like Brookline Country Club or anything like that. I see the Country Club. All I think of is the Ohio State University. Like you're saying, no, we're not just a country club. Like we're the country club.
But you don't think of the U.
Ooh.
That's completely different. Because it's not really the U, it's the U.
Yeah.
And also those are two very completely different. I mean, same words, but we're heading
very, very opposite directions.
Right. Like it's not.
Shout out to the 7-4 crew.
It's not the Brookline.
No, it's not the Brookline. The Country Club.
I don't think we've got any gold chains up at the Brookline.
I don't know.
Actually, that's probably not true. We probably got a lot of Italians up there.
Yeah, there's probably
I take that back.
I gotta look something up.
But yeah,
quick.
7th floor crew, I don't think is rolling into Brookline.
No, maybe now that they're a little bit more mature,
right?
But no. So golf this week, U.S. Open for the first time since 1988 at the Country Club at Brookline. Moves around. This tournament moves around. Total yardage 7,264, par 70, 2 par 5s, 4 par 3s. Those par 5s, one I think, let's see, in the 500s, 590 maybe, 557. So very reachable by any golfer that's on tour. The next one's 619. Again, still reachable by most.
Half. It'll just depend on the wind, which
right. It depends on the wind and if you can keep it accurate. If you can keep it in the fairway, reachable. If we'll mention that right now, hazards. The biggest hazard that I can see there is the rough. That picture that we saw.
You mean the rough?
It was 5 to 7 inches at least.
Oh yeah, like especially around the greens.
It's miserable. Like and outside of the bunkers when it's like when the grass is curling over into the bunker, you're like, okay, yeah, that's long.
You're talking walk up to your ball, look down, can't see it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like that's the biggest. And then there's some false fronts that are quite frequently talked about here. Fairways, again, my biggest thing with the fairway that I was going to mention this week is just it's key.
It's a premium
driving accuracy. Fairways are premium. Premium. Greens, looking at bent grass and POA blend here. Overall course, shorter for a major, but still going to play plenty long. It's not like it's a short course. We've seen some just over 7,000 courses. Like it's still a decently long course, but just shorter than what we're used to seeing for opens and majors, different stuff like that. Weather-wise, kind of a mixed bag a little bit this week. Thursday, looking at a high of 79 with gusty winds up to 25 mile an hour, 10 to 15, kind of steady. Friday, chance of showers, but the high is 90. It's going to be really warm, muggy on Friday. So stuff's going to be pretty soft. There's a lot of early week rain as well, so I think stuff's going to be soft, receptive. Saturday, high of 75, partly cloudy, gusty winds. Sunday, the exact same thing. Saturday, Sunday. So not a lot of change between those, but Thursday and Friday, tough to score.
Yeah.
Tough to score is what I'm looking at here.
I mean, it's a U.S. Open.
Correct. Field-wise, it's a major. I mean, not much to say about the field. It's going to be cream of the crop.
Yep.
And what do you know? We got some LIV guys playing too.
All the LIV guys.
The LIV guys are in.
They're regretting showing up early because of the media.
That is true.
Blitz that they have faced, but they will be playing.
That is true. That is very, very true. Par threes, one thing I didn't mention. So it's an interesting mix of par threes here. Got one par 11th downhill, 131 yards is all. And there's a lot of OB around it. It's just a tough hole. There's tight pin locations.
It's precision.
It's exactly just like
these guys are going to have wedges in hand.
Exactly.
Wedges and gap iron.
For sure. And then you go all the way up to 215 yards, which is what we consider like, oh, that's a pretty daunting hole. That's long. Nowadays, 200 is probably pretty close to the average for a tour par 3. So that's probably, you're looking at 6 iron.
Again,
for these guys,
them, it's going to, wind is going to play a factor. When you start getting into those distances, it's like that's anywhere from 7, dare I even say an 8 iron if you're downwind, downhill, to a 4 iron or a hybrid for some of these guys, just depending on what that wind's doing. So that's what makes it more interesting, is just the fact that every time you step on that hole, it's going to feel a little bit different, just depending on what that breeze is doing.
Yeah. So key metrics this week that I kind of looked at, it was kind of hard to find a lot of common themes in key metrics. So I look at a couple different sites when I try and find these. Approach is always going to be high on a lot of people's lists. One thing, my favorite metric comes into play here. Bogey avoidance came into play. So that one's going to be, opportunities gain type deal around the green. That bogey avoidance, putting yourself close, getting up and down for pars, that's going to be huge. But an emphasis that a lot of people had was good drive percentage. Can you get on the green or get close proximity-wise if you are a little bit off? Is your drive just that poor, you get a terrible lie? But there was a premium on driving accuracy and good drive percentage this week. So yeah, we can kind of hop into it. Since I talked about bogey avoidance, so we got to bring something up that you heard on the radio, and you called me and you're like, you're one of the few people that would understand this, and it's about your favorite metric.
Yeah.
Anyways, so tell us a little bit about what you heard on the radio.
So I was listening. I'm driving home, and they start listening to the PGA Tour Sirius XM, and they talk about a guy who we talked about a lot, who's always competitive on tough golf courses, which means for the most part in the tougher fields, and that's our buddy Matthew Fitzpatrick. And the stat comes across of he's always competitive, but why can't he win? And the discussion was, well, he plays well on tougher courses, so therefore he's playing against tougher fields. But come to find out, those guys are still making birdies on these tougher courses. And Matthew Fitzpatrick, and I wish I hadn't told Ryan, because I would have liked him to guess, and I don't know what range he would have guessed in.
I would have, if you would have asked me, I would have probably guessed
birdie or better.
I would have
Matthew
probably
Fitzpatrick
said 65 to 85. Probably would have been
which
my
is,
range.
that's completely.
I would have said above average.
He's not right. He's
for
not
sure.
a birdie making machine. Just a good steady golfer, but he's not. I would think of like a Furyk or a Kuchar or a Kistner, maybe somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
Even Matthew Fitzpatrick is 147th on the PGA Tour in birdie or better average.
Just birdie average. Birdie or better, actually. Birdie or better, he's 154th.
Okay. So birdie average,
Even worse.
147th. Birdie or better, 154th. So it gets worse. Overall scoring average. So someone who there's 140 plus guys better at making birdies than him. He's 4th in scoring average.
It's insane. And
4th.
It is insane to think about that.
Which, it only plays on tough courses for there to be that big a difference, because on easier courses, well, hopefully Fitzpatrick's making more birdies, but also guys aren't making as many blunders. But the fact that there's 143 spot gap between those two numbers was mind-blowing to me. And I think also to you, but I might have even swerved off the road a little bit, or shots gained total, he's first. Bogey avoidance, he's sixth.
Yeah.
Like that's just like the fact that he doesn't make, like, first of all, it tells me that he's not a great putter. But at the same point, like, he has to be a good par saving putter.
Like, so, he's probably a good lag putter.
Right. At some point, like, the putter's got to be decent, but like, he doesn't hole a lot of putts but it's one of those anomalies, but it's also one of those things that, again, like, he competed this week until he got a little bit off, like, third round, and then he couldn't ever recover because he couldn't make enough birdies to recover, basically. Like, he had a bad hole or two. And so, like, anytime that happens, which is way more likely to happen on a tough golf course, whereas, you know, if a Rory or JT or Finau or any of them make a bogey or two, like, they're likely to come back with, like, 4 out of 6 or 5 out of 7 or 2 eagles, a birdie, you know, 3 pars in a row and another eagle type of thing. Whereas Fitzpatrick's just more likely in that stretch to make 6 pars and a birdie.
He was 6 under going into the weekend because he shot 6 under first round. Right. He was 6 under going into Sunday because he shot 6 under first round. He went par. Right. Or he went even par, right. And then he shot 3 under. So he finished 9 under, which was 10 strokes off the lead.
Right. But it's just one of those things where, I mean, it's just an anomaly of ability to really run a score up versus ability to really sustain yourself on a difficult golf course, which the U.S. Open is usually set up to be the most difficult course that these guys will play all year. That's the U.S. Open's goal.
Holy smokes.
So Ryan has more.
His second round, I just wanted to go back, see what his rounds looked like. His second round, he shot a 32 going out. Mm-hmm. Pretty decent. He had 1 bogey on there, 3 birdies. Mm-hmm. Okay. Shot a 38 coming in because he had a double. He doubled 14. He bogeyed 16, bogeyed 17, bogeyed 18. He had 3 birdies. Like, his second round was an absolute roller coaster. His last 5 holes were abysmal. Mm-hmm. He went double, and then he went birdie. He's probably like, oh, all right, I'm feeling all right. And then he went bogey. Right.
Yeah, because he was in the lead for a decent amount of Saturday, I think. At least the first half of Saturday.
Yeah, because he started at 1.
Yeah.
He started at 1, and he was at least 8 under. Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, just a guy that, I mean, he's, like I said, he doesn't like a lot of attention, but his game doesn't demand a lot of attention because of that. Like, he's not a scorer. He's not a guy that's going to go out and just hunt pins. He's going to keep the ball in the fairway. He's going to scramble. He's going to, but he's just not flashy. And he's also not flashy with the media. He's kind of got that wry, dry English humor.
Yep.
But that's about all you get from him.
Right. But so when I mentioned that bogey avoidance was like one of my favorite metrics or whatever, it was because Tiger always talked about, being the best lag putter on tour and saving par and never getting above that, and always like knowing that, hey, maybe I'm not going to make this 64-foot putt, but I'm going to put it within 4 feet so then I can make that 4-footer, and that's why I love bogey avoidance. But the thing is Tiger could make birdies, so he was much better than 147th on tour. He was probably more like first or second. Right. So there's a little bit of a difference there. But even if Matthew Fitzpatrick was 65th, maybe like I thought, or 50th, he's probably got 2 wins on tour, I think, right now.
Oh, easily.
I'm saying this year, probably.
100%.
But that's also 100.
Right.
100 spots better. Like,
right.
Who I just want to see strokes gained. Let's go strokes gained. Birdie average, we'll go with that because birdie average was exactly what you heard on the radio here.
Right.
Let me pull it up. Birdie average. And I'm going to scroll to 50th and just see who's in that range. What do you know? A guy that you mentioned, Kuchar.
Yeah.
Kisner. Kisner's 54th. Kuchar's 50th.
Right. But that's where
you got
I
guys like
expect
Hadwin, Jason Day.
Yeah.
Munoz is there, who's been playing well.
Who's 100 and who's 100th?
100th, you got. Oh, wow. So 147th was prior to the Canadian, RBC Canadian. He's 103rd now.
Oh.
Because he made a lot of birdies last week. He just made a lot of bogeys.
Right. Moving up the board.
But around there,
who else is around there?
So you go from Nick Hardy, okay, so be it. CT Pan, Patrick Reed, Matthias Schwab, Sahith Theegala, Lucas Glover, Matt Naismith.
But you're making our point here.
Right.
There's no other. I mean, Matthew Fitzpatrick is a top 10 golfer.
Right.
There is nobody else that's remotely in that breadth that's anywhere near him in birdie or better.
No, at one point you could argue Patrick Reed being there at one point, but like nowhere near now.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can keep scrolling down, but I don't see. I'm scrolling down just to look like, okay, is there somebody?
Is there anybody else?
Is there somebody that's like it is outrageous that I could think them being this low?
Right.
Birdie or better wise.
There can't be because there's nobody else that's as good at scrambling or doing anything else. Like that's that bad at making birdie.
Honestly, for a guy that I personally like, birdie average, I didn't think Christian Bezuidenhout would be 186th. But I also don't put him in the same category as Matthew Fitzpatrick whatsoever.
Well, you just don't realize. I mean, this is a perfect example. He moved up 44 spots in one tournament. It's just like how much these tougher golf courses, like when they start to play, like when the Bezuidenhouts of the world start to play these courses, they don't make a ton of birdies.
Right.
They're
okay, 95th, a guy that we talked about that has not played well this year, is 95th in birdie or better, or birdie average, sorry, Matthew Wolff.
Yeah. That's better than
Matthew Fitzpatrick.
Right.
A guy that has like 6 top 10s in his last 8.
And Wolf's probably
courses.
200th in scoring average.
So there are a couple guys that I can look at on here that are scrolling up into the top, 50. Like, okay, so I see a Shane Lowry. I see Daniel Berger. Those guys are good guys. Matt Jones is good.
Right.
Webb probably lost a step or two. Sergio hasn't been playing great. Mito is a guy that I'd probably see as higher than 89th.
Right.
But again.
Yeah, but I mean, he's done a lot in the last month, I guess.
Right.
Like that, he shot up the ranks there.
Yeah.
But
I
would 3 or 4 tournaments.
Like a guy that two guys that I don't think are anywhere near Matthew Fitzpatrick based off of how Matthew Fitzpatrick's been playing compared to them recently. Kokrak is 61st. Fleetwood is 60th. And even a guy like Oosthuizen, I would take Matthew Fitzpatrick's current form over Oosthuizen, and Oosthuizen 61st. Like,
it just goes to show you how. I mean, I think the biggest point for me was just, as we look at stats each week, and if you're not taking a look, you're probably being a little bit negligent. But at the same point, if you're putting too much emphasis on one specific item and not getting a full picture for, a handful of guys, then you're probably doing yourself a disservice and therefore probably your pocketbook.
Yeah.
So
Matthew Fitzpatrick, if you would take him top 20 every tournament, because I bet you could get some pretty good odds on him top 20 every single tournament.
You'd be
your wallet would be feeling pretty good right now.
Money ahead. Yep.
That's for sure.
All right.
So let's jump into it here. I don't want to do our one and dones first.
No.
Not this week. Let's go with a tougher one, I would say. Let's go right smack dab in the middle, Black Stallion.
All right. I agree. I like that spot.
Stoy coming in hot with, I think, is a great pick this week. I faded him last week. Shows to be a poor fade on my part. He's playing really, really well. Corey Connors plus 5,000. I like that pick.
I mean, we're getting a very consistent type of course here, I would say, in the last 2 months. Par 70 becoming a theme. Tight, thicker rough, a little bit smaller greens where putting's not, the end-all, be-all, and that fits Corey Connors' game.
I completely agree.
So no reason to think that he won't play well, and he's plus 5,000. So definitely a guy, can't argue with that pick.
No. I can go or you can. I know my guy.
Go for it.
I got Seamus Power at plus 9,000.
All right. My guy's also plus 9,000.
Oh, okay. Okay. I just think, so I got two sandwich guys on here around him at 9,000. And I actually don't hate either of them. So I'm curious to hear your pick. Power is one of those guys that's just, he's there. He plays really good golf. And I think one of my favorite things about Seamus Power and one of my biggest emphasis this week was bogey avoidance, and he's fourth. So that's where I'm going Power.
Very good. I'm going with a villain this week. Going with a little LIV tour, just a taste of the LIV. Not going to dabble in the one and dones or outrights or anything too crazy, but Patrick Reed, who I picked last week, and didn't play.
He was at plus 9,000 when you got him here. Plus 12,000 now.
Oh, perfect. So
I actually chose another LIV tour guy who was also plus 9,000.
Oh, gotcha.
Who actually would have been an okay pick. So I didn't I didn't hate that either.
The reason I'm going with Patrick Reed is one, he's been hated, and I say hated such a strong word, but disliked, not the most popular on the PGA Tour, and that's not going to change this week. And if anything, it's going to get a little bit worse. But if there's one guy that I think just can be the Shooter McGavin, for lack of a better term, of the U.S. Open, that's just going to say, you know what, double birds, let's just feed off of this. I don't care if it's negative energy or not. I'm feeding off the energy. He's started to play better golf here in the last month. And if he gets hot, the dude, his short game, his putter can get hot. I mean, he's not as long, but he doesn't have to be as long as he's hitting fairways. So just a guy that, he might not even make the cut, but if he's in contention, it's going to make it fun. He would be the main reason I took him is he would be, to me, the most fun LIV guy to be in contention at a U.S. Open.
Solely because others might hated.
Yeah, others might argue Bryson. I don't think Bryson has good enough form right now to do that. And DJ's just not electric enough. He just doesn't care enough. Whereas
you're not wrong. DJ's just. DJ's
not
made
that DJ's not a better golfer. Just
he's made enough money when he was number one in the world that he's just okay.
And he's just not as polarizing as Patrick Reed. So, say really good odds and a chance that he just wears this gigantic chip on his shoulder, and he's won big tournaments before. He's played in big Ryder Cup events and played well. So a guy I can see maybe trying to feed off of the negativity from the LIV and doing well because of it instead of vice versa.
Yeah, I like it. I actually, like I said, I thought it was a different guy just because I saw the 9,000s. Right. Jumping into top 40 here, Stoy's going with a guy that has actually been playing really, really good golf, but we knew him as much better a little while back. Adam Scott plus 135.
Are we surprised Adam Scott's not on the LIV tour? I am.
I am a little bit, actually, yeah.
Because, like, there's nobody that loves Adam Scott more than Adam Scott.
You're not wrong.
He's got his own.
That's
he's got his own
true.
logo. He's got his own. He reminds me more of a tennis player than a golfer. Like, it's, you know, a lot of those tennis players just really
like Roger Federer's got his own on
same
Roger
type,
Federer shoes.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
which love on running shoes.
I mean, he's the only guy with his own golf clubs.
Yeah.
Like, how is he not on the LIV tour?
Yeah,
it just makes sense. It was like, oh,
you're not wrong. I didn't even want to think about that.
3 is Adam Scott. Like, would be the title
teeing
sponsor
off,
of like
teeing off on hole 1 for Stingers, Adam Scott. Yeah, like,
and he has chosen to pick himself 4 times for the team event.
Yeah. That's a good point.
I don't have anything.
That's a very
Adam
good
Scott's
point.
never done or said anything. He's always been an uber professional on the golf course, but I just think it's funny because he comes off as so.
Hey, who knows? Who knows?
Hollywood,
Maybe
Matthew
they come here.
McConaughey,
Maybe they come with their pocketbooks,
right?
And they say, "Hey, Adam, what do you think?"
Right.
And maybe he's just at that point in his career where he's just like,
"Yeah,
I don't need it. I don't really care."
Well, yeah. I mean, if you got your own golf clubs, you obviously have enough money. So, like, but I just, I was.
No, I think that's
one
funny.
guy. So,
I'll let you go first here.
Webb Simpson, dude hits a lot of fairways, and just a solid golfer. Just doesn't have the firepower to compete to win, but I think the consistency of just putting himself in play and giving himself chances. He's at plus 115.
Plus 110, yeah.
110 now. So,
yeah.
For a top 40, and I just think it's a tournament and a field that fits him to be able to.
Means money's moving in on him if it's going down like that.
Right,
so,
exactly.
Hey, good pick. I am going to go with a guy who has 2 things. I'm going to stick with my bogey avoidance thing here this week. That's going to be my theme. Bogey avoidance, he's 13th, and he just played really well at that DP World Tour. I would say really well, but pretty well at the DP World Tour event. Alex Noren.
All right.
He is 145 here.
He's played well this year, though.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
After struggling.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to take Alex Noren at 145.
I'm not a big Alex Noren fan. Same thing.
I don't know that he's given me a reason to not like him, but he's never given me a reason to love him.
Yeah.
But
like I would say the same thing about Adam Scott. I've just never liked Adam Scott. Never rooted for Adam Scott. I mean, you just have those guys that you see sometimes and you're like, oh, I'm rooting for that guy. I'm definitely not rooting for that guy.
I'm trying to think of who would be my guy. Would be that guy.
That's a good finish. Let's
table
that.
Let me sulk in that a little bit because that's a really, really good point. Let's jump to player to fade. Stoy went a little outside of our top 10 this week, which honestly is a top 10 player in the world. So for him to take this guy, it makes sense.
Right.
He went with Hovland plus 3,200 to win the tournament. He's actually 13th best odds.
Yep.
I don't know.
Has not played well in majors, so definitely understand the pick.
I agree. Let me pull up the odds because I think he
was at.
I'm gonna stay within the top 10 here. Top 12, top 10. You know what? Just solely because it's a major and he pissed me off in his last major when I took him. Patrick Cantlay, you're my player to fade.
Oh, that's also who I'm fading.
Perfect. He is what, 7th? Yep.
Yeah.
7th plus 2,400.
My other guy that I had was Cam Smith, so I don't think Cam Smith hits enough fairways to compete here.
That's actually
so just to be different, I'll go with Cam Smith.
Okay.
And I see he's one below 2,100, 6th.
He's actually jumped up to 5th.
Okay.
Still at 2,100, but I think there's
somebody
else. The
else
sharps are fading him.
Gotcha.
Cantlay is at 2,400 now, okay. So he is 5th.
If you're taking Cantlay, I'll take Cam Smith.
He is plus 2,100 and All right. Let's go outright winners.
Okay.
Stoy with a guy that he actually is arguably, we talked about a guy that we can't root for.
Mm-hmm.
I've never not rooted for this guy.
Mm-hmm.
He might be my favorite golfer of all time.
Okay.
Actually. Justin Thomas plus 1,200.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. He's always been a likable guy to me. And some of the stuff that he says, like he's like, he'll hook a ball or something like that. Get lucky. Hit the tree. Get lucky. Like those things, it's like, okay, that's relatable. Mm-hmm. And then he's just always been I don't know that there's ever been a time where he's just, no, you're just a dislikable guy.
Right.
Oh, gosh. Pick to win this week. I think it's going to be It's going to be different than my one and done, just to give myself a little bit of a pick here. Shane Lowry.
All right.
Shane Lowry, pick to win, plus 3,000. He is a guy we've mentioned him a ton in the past. He's good. He always has that one round that falters him.
Mm-hmm.
Just hoping he doesn't.
Wait, how's he on bogey avoidance?
Actually, that's a good call. If he's not good on bogey avoidance, then I'm taking my pick back. He's third.
Boom.
He is actually third.
Yes. So you're golden.
He is third, and let me pull this up here. Third on bogey avoidance.
Who's first?
Who is number one bogey avoidance? That would be Justin Thomas.
Who's second?
Sung J.M.
All right.
Shane Lowry, Seamus Power. Kuchar is fifth.
Yeah. All right.
But that does describe Kuchar's game, just like we talked about Matt Fitzpatrick.
Right.
That describes Kuchar's game.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Burns, a guy that's been playing great all year, sixth.
Yep.
Mito Pereira, seventh.
Yeah.
Matt Fitzpatrick is eight.
I mean, I'm not going real far off this beaten path. So Fitzpatrick actually, so he went up 43 spots in birdies, but he went down.
Bogey avoidance by 2.
Yeah, 2 spots.
Yeah.
Because he didn't avoid the bogeys like he normally does.
You're not wrong. He got doubles.
Yeah. That's still considered a bogey.
I know, but.
Yeah. He definitely.
Is that your guy?
No. But I'm not going. I'm going with number 1 and number 6. So number 1, I'll take Thomas for my outright winner. I just think that he's in form for a U.S. Open win.
Correct.
Spieth is getting a lot of talk. I just don't trust him to hit the ball straight enough for 4 days to not get himself into some
good. Just you talked about it there. Good drive percentage for him. 73rd driving accuracy, right. 131st. He gets wild off the tee.
Yeah, and and he's creative, fun to watch, and the dude can win golf tournaments from anywhere on the golf course.
His creativity is what makes him good.
Right, and that's why he's the most interesting, exciting golfer to watch, since dare I say Tiger-esque, from a perspective of just shot making, of there's no way this guy has a chance of doing something with this lie or something with this angle, and Tiger would pull off it, and Spieth can do those types of things.
Yeah.
However, that's not sustainable he's not playing well enough outside of that. It's fine if you're playing really well
he's not
and then
playing,
you do those.
He's not playing terrible, but he's not
I just think there's
great.
Better guys. The really top tier guys are in better form right now.
Yeah.
Than Spieth. And so I just can't pick.
And that's why I
want to pick him and I cannot pick.
That's why I think it's weird. Maybe my one and done pick might be a little.
Yeah.
Guy's still playing really good golf, but he's under the radar, really good golf. Yeah. I just think he needs to get back in the winning circle.
All right. Get it.
Jon Rahm.
I don't hate it. I just can't figure out where and the thing with Rahm is just had a second kid, I believe. not too long ago.
That has been like the curse, right?
And like he's just, and he's very much strong, family oriented. Like has calmed down on the golf course. Just doesn't feel like he's played quite enough golf. Now that could be complete myth, and he could have been on the range and playing, and just not as much. But
I mean, his last
isn't he
his last three tournaments he's gone
reigning
fourth.
Champion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Last three tournaments he's gone fourth. He went 48th. Just had a bad. I think he had a bad Sunday, if I remember, at PGA Championship, and he won the Mexico.
Right. So like he's not playing
Masters. He went 27th.
Right, but even the tournament he finished fourth in, like he was there at the end.
Memorial.
It was like it was more on act. Like he kind of backed into it. It wasn't because he was playing better golf.
He wasn't sniffing a championship there.
Right.
I mean, he. Yeah, I don't know. Like
again, a hard guy to bet against. Don't get me wrong.
Right. I mean, I had another guy lined up here, potential.
Rahm, Bogey Avoidance,
11th.
Okay.
And my other first in green and reg, which is going to be important, I think, here. And then, like his highest thing in my little thing here is 46th in driving accuracy, but he's 12th in good drive percentage,
Right.
22nd approach. Like he's just kind of steady Eddie. Par 4 scoring was an emphasis on a lot of people's board, and he's 6th.
Yep. No, not a bad pick at all. I don't dislike that pick, and definitely one that I actually considered as well. Sam Burns this week for me, riding a high hand.
Gosh,
guys playing good golf at the right time on the right type of courses, and he can score with any of those top guys. So if any of those guys get hot and Burns is playing good golf, I don't think the field intimidates him. Now, the golf course or the moment may, and that's yet to be seen, but I think he's playing good enough golf right now to play with anyone on the tour. So,
yeah. I mean, I took him.
He's plus 2,900, title 11th overall last I saw. I don't know if that's changed, but.
He is Sam Burns plus 2,700 and tied, looks like 10th.
Okay.
So
moved
plus
up a little
2,700. But hey, typically,
they're
moving up. Money's coming in on them.
Cream's going to rise to the top here. Somebody in that top tier is winning. I feel good about that. And that's without mentioning the guy that won last week.
Rory,
who's, man.
He's playing incredible, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of really good golfers playing really good golf at the right time right now. So I expect an amazing tournament. Who was Stoy's one and done?
Oh, did we not mention that? Maybe I didn't. Scotty Sheffler, number one golfer in the world, plus 1,500. I think he's second or third in odds right now.
Hard to argue that pick. I don't love him at this course, but
I mean, but just like we mentioned, he's kind of been unpredictable lately.
Oh, absolutely.
But he's still just so good. He's got that swing that everybody talks about, that it's like such an amateur swing, but it just works for him. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Again, another tough guy to root against.
Oh, right. But he's not overly. You're not necessarily rooting against him, but like,
no,
it's not like he's got a huge fan base either. He's not a Rory, JT, Spieth personality. He's just kind of, you're not going to hate if he ends up winning, but
right,
it's more so who he's playing against than like rooting for him specifically.
I completely agree. I'm still pondering that that guy that you said, Adam Scott. I'm trying to figure out like who's a guy kind of in that caliber, because Adam Scott's a good golfer that I just didn't ever really get into liking that much.
Like, so if I said Sergio.
Sergio's a weird one for me because he's animated, and I like animation a little bit.
But are you rooting for or against him?
I don't really have a preference. If he loses, I don't care. If he wins, I don't care.
But, like, interested in watching him? As far as, like, call it featured group or...
Yes, because I think he's fun enough to watch.
Right.
So that's where I think yes in that one. I was thinking more along the lines. I just had it pulled up here. Let me go back. It was actually within the sports book. I was just looking at names on here. Like, okay, who's a guy that, he just doesn't, I'm not all crazy gung-ho about. This might be weird. Maybe, I don't know. Louis Oosthuizen?
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like Louis, like he would just prefer it to be meh. But, like, you would root against Louis? Whereas I feel like most people would not root.
No, I guess I'm not rooting against him. Are you rooting against Adam Scott?
I mean, most of the time, yes.
Okay.
Like, I'm not rooting.
Okay.
Let's put it this way. I'm never rooting for Adam Scott to win or do well. And I think I know what it is more than anything. It's because he putts with one of those stupid putters.
That's actually a very, very valid point.
So
yeah.
So
okay.
Like, that's what it is.
Yes, that's fair.
That's what it is. Like, that for him, for me, that's what it is for him. I don't know. You could just, like, go down the list of, like, Patrick Cantlay. Meh, but, like, I'm never rooting for that guy.
No.
Burns, 50-50, don't care. Thomas, probably rooting for him. Like, I don't root against Patrick Reed. Ever since the whole Ryder Cup fist pump, finger wag at Rory, like, best Ryder Cup ever.
Yeah.
Like, and the dude is, by all accounts, a douchebag, and by all accounts, probably...
Why didn't I take... Who's Harry Hall? This guy's got my last name. Why am I not taking this?
You know, probably cuts a few corners. A lot of people dislike Patrick Reed. Like, I'm not there for him, but Bryson, don't root for Bryson.
No, that's a guy that...
And I mean...
I actually appreciate...
Although Bryson with a hat, almost root for Bryson with a hat. Definitely Bryson not with a...
the old school.
Don't root for that Bryson. I'll root for Bryson with a ball cap.
Okay, that's fair.
So a lot of it comes to look or equipment, which is just how we are as Americans, isn't it?
Yeah, you're not wrong. Very, very materialistic.
Right.
What's on the surface level.
Mm-hmm. But I mean,
this might be a weird one, and actually, he's a little older. He's actually playing on the senior tour, but a guy that I never really got super excited about, Vijay Singh.
Yeah,
and honestly,
I don't think he was. Yeah, I would be meh for him.
But I would never. I would rather see somebody else win than him.
That's fair.
That's my thing. Like. Right. Around his era, I'd rather see other people win. I'd rather see Daly's win. I'd rather see Miguel win. I'd rather see, there's just other people I'd rather see win that are around his era than him. So that might be my Adam Scott, and maybe it's because he just like lumbers, and I don't know that I like the lumber.
What about like Ernie Els?
Ernie Els lumbers.
Yeah,
but.
I mean, he's a big man.
But he's huge, and that's actually what pumps me up about him.
That's his persona.
That's what pumps me up about him is because you hear, you Wikipedia some of these golfers, and they're like, oh, they're 5'9", 175 pounds, and Ernie Els is like 6'4", 260, 270.
Like 6'8".
All right, Wikipedia,
maybe he's
let us
somewhere
know.
In between there. Maybe he's like 6'6". Maybe I've always made Ernie bigger than he actually is.
Okay, I did too. He's 6'3".
What?
He's 6. I don't know if I believe that.
Disappointing. Like, I'm 6'3". I feel like
the Big Easy former 6'3". I feel like
I look Ernie Els in the eye, which is super disappointing because, like, I was picturing Ernie Els to be like
I watched him play at the Principal Charity Classic last year. I thought he looks bigger than 6'3".
Like he looked bigger than standing next. Like
yeah,
I mean, you and I stand next to each other quite a bit. Like
yeah, like I'm like a 6'5",
like
11, 6 foot guy. Yeah. Like I don't. Yeah, he's bigger than that. I think Wikipedia. I think Google's wrong.
Did they?
It's just wrong.
They measured him when he was standing over his golf ball. He was leaning.
Yeah, it's just wrong. It's just plain wrong.
All right.
But yeah, I think. Yep, I think VJ would be that. Like,
what about Phil now? Feelings change on Phil ever? Never rooted for him. Always rooted for him.
I rooted for him. I
Never
rooted
cared.
for him, but I don't think it really changes. I actually liked when he started to get more social. I thought that was fun. I thought it was like, oh, I got one driver in the bag this week for hitting bombs. I got one driver for hitting little mini fairways, that kind of stuff. Like, I thought that stuff was fun for me and Phil.
Mm-hmm.
But I always so you look at it and you just see like so many golfers that are just tunnel vision. I can't do anything but golf, tunnel vision. I don't want to make jokes. I don't want to do this. I don't want to. That's why when Bubba and Ricky, I can't remember who is it, Bubba, Ricky, somebody, there was like two other guys, they made that rap.
Oh, right.
But like that stuff's just fun. Like it's just goofing around and that's what I like. Actually, I think Ricky was on a podcast not that long ago and they were talking about like having drinks on tour and what life is like on tour. And Ricky's like, the week of the tournament, it's not really like you don't do anything. He's like, if you go out and you have a long round, maybe you shot good, maybe you shot bad, but it was just a long grinding round, you might have a drink or two.
Right.
He's like, but that's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then come Sunday, if you want to let loose, you let loose. You have some fun. And they're like, well, we've seen you do this. He's like, yeah, we're human. We party. Right. Like I've partied with Justin Thomas. I've partied with these guys. Like we saw Justin Thomas shotgunning beers at the Ryder Cup and different stuff like that. Like that stuff to me is fun. They're human. Right. They're not robotic.
Which a lot of times in a very positive way, they look like it on the golf course. Just because they can repeat shot after shot of amazing.
So that's where my like a little bit for Bryson comes, is because he is robotic and he tries to simplify the game. Mm-hmm. I think golf sometimes, especially at the amateur level, and sometimes for me for sure, I try and complicate it. Okay, I'm 250 out. I can hit my hybrid. I can get my hybrid there, but then if I don't and I hit it, I'm going to be 40 yards in. I'm probably going to duff a chip. I'm probably going to, whereas I should probably just hit a 160 shot, give myself a decent 60-degree in, place it close, whatever it is. Now, if I had a 3-wood in my bag, I'd probably still pull that 250. Like, I pull it out every single time, but I just have a 4 hybrid in my bag, and it doesn't get there all the time.
Right.
But Bryson just keeping things simple, like the one-length concept, and that's not a Bryson concept by any means. Like, let's not try and pretend that he is the godfather of that, because he's not. That was... I think Tommy Armour had that in like the 1970s or something like that.
He took it and, ran all the way through and has made it famous. Right.
Oh, absolutely. Now, him to come out and like bash Cobra, like bash his sponsors and do those things. That's where my dislike really started to set in for him. It's like, don't be a scumbag, dude. Mm-hmm. Just don't. Like, I don't care if you come out and you're like, oh, this club didn't work for me this week. We're tweaking some things in my swing. Everybody does that. Everybody has bad rounds. We hear about it all the time. But for you to come out and directly attack your biggest sponsor and you're kind of the face of theirs, like, that's just no.
Yeah. We need to, before we forget here, we need to set some side bets for the U.S. Open.
Oh, yeah. So, let me
start with our score.
Back. 2013 U.S. Amateur.
Which our buddy Fitzy won.
He did.
He's staying with the same host family. Did you hear that?
I didn't.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
I so badly wanted to take him. For me to bet him outright, he just needs one tour win. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. we have seen a lot of first-time winners come at the U.S. Open. I think Rahm, his first win might have come at the U.S. Open. Morikawa might have come at the first U.S. Open.
Yeah.
I think Brooks' second win on tour came at the U.S. Open because he only wins at majors anyways.
Yeah.
But like first-time winners at the U.S. Open really, really happens. So that's another thing that I didn't hate about taking Matthew Fitzpatrick. I don't know. I'm not going to talk myself out of my pick.
No,
not going to talk
no,
myself
I'm
out
not
of my
gonna
pick.
I mean, it's already down.
It's
I
already
just need
submitted.
We need a number.
It's already submitted.
Is the number 4?
Is it?
I don't know.
I think it's higher than that.
U.S. Open, bud.
Let's just go to U.S. Open past results because I think the last winner was like 6 or 7.
Believe me, the U.S. Open is not afraid to make a course impossible if they feel like these guys are getting out of hand.
I agree. 6 was the winner.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not out of hand.
Nope.
Single digits,
Yep.
not out of hand. Let's go. So we got 6. That course was a par 72.
Mm-hmm.
Gary Woodland won the U.S. Open.
Mm-hmm.
I forget about that. 13.
Yeah.
In 2018, it was 1 over Brooks, and then I think he was 16 the year before that, if I remember correctly. Yep, 16.
Sprinkled all over the board here, man.
I know. And then 4 in 2016 with Justin Johnson.
We just don't have a lot of course history here either with Brookline, with the country club at Brookline. Six and a half.
7.5, I think, is my number. Because I don't know if I like 7 or 8 better.
And you're going under?
I don't know if I like 7 or 8 better. That's why I think 7.5 is my number, because I don't know what I like better. If it was 6.5, I think I like 7 better than 6, but I don't know if I like 8 better than 7, if that makes sense.
Do you know why 6 was afraid of 7?
7, 8, 9, baby.
There it is.
Let's go.
Set him up. knock him down.
Come on. Dad jokes. Oh, shit. What are your first thoughts? I mean, just like you said, it's a U.S. Open. They will make it tough if they need to.
Right.
It hasn't been played here since 1988, so we really don't know.
I mean, the guys like the course.
Right.
And, which just to me, when you get this group of guys, because the guys that you're hearing that from are the top-notch guys, that just means that they feel like the course is playing fair. Doesn't mean it's playing easy. Doesn't mean it's playing hard. It just means the course is in great shape.
And that's where I think like a 1 or 2 under per round is fair.
Right. And I also think that the best guys in the world are playing some of their best golf right now, which leads to lower scoring. Like, those guys are going to find ways to make birdies. Now, I don't know what Brookline has in store for Saturday and Sunday, but the weather is also not leaning towards going super low, except for if it stays soft.
Right.
So
I agree. I agree there. And the thing with it is we thought, okay, RBC Canadian, they're going to make it tough, which they did on Saturday, Sunday.
No,
or sorry, Thursday, Friday.
Right.
Thursday, Friday they did.
Yeah.
And then they didn't.
I'll go over whatever number you set.
I think 7.5 is a good number, and I think, oh my gosh,
8.5.
8.5 I go under.
All right.
7.5 I go over. I like 8.
There you go. Perfect. So 8.5 is the number. I'll go over 8.5.
I'll go under. I don't like taking the under. Life's too short to take the under, though. I don't know if I want to take the under there, but I don't know. Like, it's not going to get to double digits. It will not get to double digits, even though it has in the past. and reading a lot about the par threes, it's basically like shoot even par on the par threes and you're good. You make a good round. They're probably going to have an above par scoring average. Ah, shit. I think at 8.5, that's such a good number.
Okay.
But I don't know if I'm comfortable taking the under. I just don't think it gets to 10. That's why
your number's 9.5.
No, 8.5 would be a number. Like 7, 8, 9. That area is like really my bread and butter area.
Right. So I mean that's why 8.5 is a good number. But I'll take. I don't like necessarily disagree with you as far as getting to 10 under. Like, yes, but I mean I like I definitely like over 7.5. 8.5 is more me meeting you in the middle.
I like over 7.5. I like 8 better than 7. Sitting here thinking about it because I just saw Rory tear up a course that was supposed to be playing tough and shoot 19 under.
What was Rory going into the weekend?
Let me go back here quick. Canadian Open.
Also, does Phil make the cut? No. Is that it's not even?
I don't think so.
He doesn't, does he?
I don't think so.
Are you willing to put a shitty shot on the line for it?
Yeah. So he was 2 under. He was 6 under going into the weekend. Shot 13 under in the last 2 days.
He was what?
6 under going into the weekend. Shot 5 under, 8 under.
On the weekend.
Yeah. So he's 6 under.
My worry is that the leader is somewhere between 6 and 8 under going into the weekend, and then the U.S. Open just says even par is going to win this tournament. If you shoot even par on the weekend, you're going to win.
Yeah, that would be where my 7 comes into play. Mm-hmm. That's where my 7 comes into play.
Right, because somebody's going to shoot 65 on Thursday or Friday. So there's 500 right there. That's just going to happen. It happens in every major. I mean, it's probably somebody that might not even make the, dare I say, might not even make the cut, but doesn't finish top 40 type of thing. They're just going to drop off the board after that and, shit the bed.
Yep.
But are any of the top 20 guys going to shoot the 5 under, 2 under, 1 under, 1 under round? And that right there, you're at 9 under.
Right.
Which that's kind of my thought is that yes, it's bound to happen that one of those guys
I would probably
shoot a 5.22.
Yeah.
But I mean, do they shoot a 5.2 even? And win at 7? I 100% can see the U.S. Open setting that up that way. So we're just grinding out Saturday and Sunday. They're not going to be able to dry the greens out, it doesn't sound like, based on the weather. But
I just don't know that they're going to
with pin location.
I just don't know that they're going to shoot a 5 is going to be a very, very good score, I think, on Thursday based off of the gusty winds and
right. I'm just saying,
but the receptive greens, it lands soft.
Right. Thursday and Friday, you're going to have a handful between those 2 days. You're going to have 6 to 8 dudes shoot a 4 or 5 under in one of those 2 rounds.
I actually personally almost think that Friday's going to play better than Thursday, being hot. Rain will cool them down a little bit. Yeah, it'll be muggy, but if it's not as windy as what Thursday is, I think Friday's a better scoring round. Right. So maybe you see a guy go 2 Thursday, 4 Friday, 1, 1. That's 2, 4, 1, 1, 2, 4, 1, over 2 under, whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm going to go. You're going over 8.5. Oh, this is such a tough thing for me. I think I'm going under because I think 8 is my bread and butter score. Like if I had to choose one number, I think 8's the number. So I'm going under. Did he answer?
No, not yet. It's out there though, so we won't record it at this point.
I'm gonna put under with an asterisk, just because.
Also,
it's a U.S. Open, and Stoy loves defensive.
He would have had under last week, no matter what. We put him on the under, but there's no way he was going over 19. So we're saving that shitty shot for him.
Yeah, like I don't think he goes over 11.5. He's like,
right.
And honestly, there's been a lot of single-digit scores this year, so that's a very, very valid point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I took the under on it, and I was very comfortable.
So we went 8.5. You went under.
Yeah.
So confidently. Do we have anything else? Anything else out there? Do we have any live tour top 10?
That was going to be my thing.
Or a live tour top 5?
I would probably venture to say top 10 just based off of the way some of these live guys are playing.
Mm-hmm.
Top 5 is a little bit of a push.
Okay.
I think.
So live tour top 10, you're saying yes?
I think one maybe live guy finishes in the top 10.
And anybody that hasn't played live but is live tour is included in that.
Yeah. If they've
now
Ricky
right,
is not
Ricky
in
wouldn't
there.
count, Wolf wouldn't count.
No, those guys aren't. But Bryson, Reed. Yep, those guys count.
Yeah. And you've got just your normal
DJ, Phil,
Louis,
Charles, all those guys. Yep, those guys count. Gooch.
So are you saying yes?
Yes.
To a live top 10? Dang. I will as well. Oh, that's painful. Oh. There's like one too many decent guys on live so far to somehow figure out how to slide into a top 10. Top 5, I would say no.
Yeah, I could probably say no, top 5.
That's where I was like, but that's good. Like, that's kind of where I don't want to put a shitty shot on that. I'm not comfortable enough. We have too many other things we can get shitty shots for. That's weak of me. That's weak-mindedness.
It's true.
But I don't feel good about that one way or the other. What else is out there? U.S. Open. There's not enough uniqueness on the course.
I don't know enough about the only other thing that I could say would be like, it's the U.S. Open. Does a U.S. guy win it? Or does somebody else win it?
U.S. or other?
Yeah. That would be another.
I don't mind that.
That would be another thing. Like, I think, so you guys took 2 U.S. guys.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't.
Yeah. I can ride that. I'll ride a U.S. guy.
Actually, so your outright winners and your one and dones are all U.S.
Uh-huh.
Neither one of mine are U.S.
All right, then let's just ride. Let's just ride the pick itself. And so by picking who you did, you get the non-Americans.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's actually a point that we can talk about. So we can just hit on it quickly. These are some fun things that you can look at on FanDuel, DraftKings, different stuff like that. Is you can go nationality, like top Mexican, top Spaniard, top European, top South African, all this stuff. You can bet on those guys. Those are super, super fun things to do. I think because you might look at it and be like, okay, Brandon Grace is playing great golf. I'm going to take him as my top South African.
Right.
Or
you can get, you can pick one of them to finish better than a specific counterpart.
Yeah.
Head to head or anything like that as well. So
that's where I think Live might be fun. Like, I think the Crushers are going to finish better than the Stingers.
Right.
Like, in the future, once they get to that point, once Vegas figures out what the heck is actually going on, I think, the Crushers are going to finish better than the Stingers. The Iron Heads are going to win overall, like what it's going to be. I think those are going to be fun things because now I'm not just betting on DJ. I'm not just betting on Phil. I'm not just betting on Charles Schwartzel. I'm betting on their team to come through with them. I'm betting on Andy Ogletree to shoot 2 shots better than what he did so they can finish third.
Well, and I don't remember if it was you I was talking to or somebody else, but I think the next step for the LIV is, get all of your guys, but if they're going to make this more of an entertainment festival, carnival type of event, then like the on-course production is going to need to go up another level, and we're going to need to start seeing like Phil, DJ, and Ian Poulter and the shot closest to the pin on the par 3 for
$50,000
for $1,000, 100,000. I mean, money, like whatever, but like just and like have them bring money out with them.
Oh yeah.
And be, like what in whatever form you want it to be, but be like, whether it's a poker chip or something like that, and be like, all right, we got 6 holes today that are gambling holes.
Yeah.
If
I like it.
Just embrace,
because that's amateur golf right there.
Embrace your entertainment style of tournament. Like, don't try to be the PGA. You've already mixed it up with the PGA, and it's oil and water. You're never going to try to like outdo what the PGA, like don't try to do what the PGA does well. Be your own, like go down your own avenues.
If I'm on the Stingers, I should probably be wearing like a Stingers hat or a Stingers shirt or something like that.
Absolutely. And we should start getting some gear. Because like you can make cool logos, and they haven't made cool logos yet. So I'm hoping for better ones.
Somebody actually, it was pretty funny. Somebody came out and it's like, when you do a creative team on NCAA football, that's like what their logos and stuff like that have come out to. And they could make cool, like you said, they could make cool logos. People will buy that stuff.
Yes. So
like this Titleist hat, I don't know. I think I have like 1 Titleist thing in my bag.
Right.
Actually, probably like 3 because I probably found some Pro Vs in the woods or something like that. But like, I don't play Pro Vs. Right. I don't play Titleist irons. I don't play Titleist driver.
Right.
You're where it's like, I just wear it because I like it. Now I have a Joel Domin now. I have a big, and actually it's lovely because I don't like getting sunburn on my neck and ears and stuff like that. But it's a ping one, and I play a ping driver, so I'm like, oh yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think some of that gear would be sweet.
I think that's the next step for the LIV. So we've got our 3 side bets. We've got score, LIV, and country winners. Any last-ditch efforts to crawl back into your overall score here? Because I think you've been getting beat up pretty good last couple of weeks here.
Yeah, I actually need to update that. I need to update that sheet because I think I'm a few ahead. Because you didn't have any, right?
Mm-mm. The last 2 weeks.
And I had 3.
Mm-hmm.
This week. I had 2 the week before. 2, 3 the week. You had 1.
1, yeah, because we did the one together.
I had 3 the week before.
That's right.
Oh man, what a rough. Ugh. All right. Well, on that note, I'm widening the distance. The gap is here. It was here. They were closing. You guys were closing the gap on me with shitty shots. Now that's just not a thing anymore.
Ryan got jealous.
Yeah, I got jealous because you guys were taking all of them, and I'm like, well, I haven't tried this flavor.
I haven't had the kinky ruby grapefruit yet.
Exactly. But as always, everybody, we appreciate you. Like, subscribe, follow, share wherever you're listening. Spotify, Apple, YouTube, any sort of social media. We're all over Twitter, TikTok, Instagram Reels. Hit us up. Let us know what your guys' favorite picks are. We're in this one-and-done league. If you guys are in a one-and-done league, let's hear your guys' one-and-done picks. That's something that we haven't talked about before. One-and-done is super, super fun. We've always talked about it's tough to pick a winner, but, I mean, when you got 30, 40, 50 guys in there, somebody's got to pick a winner, right? Doesn't always happen.
Yeah. Stoy's in on the under. Sorry, I was getting a last-minute update here.
Okay.
He's hopefully under, zero research, give it to me. And then he wanted to know if the LIV top 10 included anyone that was coming out this week. And I said, what the heck? So I gave it to him, but he still thinks no. No LIV top 10s for Scotty.
No LIV top 10. Ooh, okay. Well, then it was good. Then it was good that we took that because two of us said yes, one of us said no. You were very weary of it. I actually was pretty confident that there's a LIV guy that'll finish just because there's too many good names. And country winners, he doesn't have a choice because he took two U.S. guys.
Yep.
All right. That's a wrap, everybody. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. See you next week. Stoy will be back.
It's time.